This
Yes,
conference
sir.
will now
Yes.
be recorded.
Yes, sir.
Right. Let me start the session, guys. Today's class is class number 3, demo class number 3. Total out of 5 introduction classes. We are done with 2 classes. In the class 1, we have introduction to Power BI. And in the class 2, yesterday's class is the class 2. What we discussed in the class 2 is we discussed how to download and install Power BI desktop software. Once you download and install Power BI desktop software, we discussed what is Power BI desktop, what it will do. Then we discussed what is Power BI desktop, what it will do. Once after that, we discussed in Power BI desktop we have 3 softwares. Out of the 3 softwares, first software you have in the Power BI desktop is what is that? Power Query. We discussed how to open Power Query, how to do the ETL activities in the Power Query. Till here we discussed in the last class, guys. Today's class is class number 3. We are going to discuss about overview of Power Pivot software. What is Power Pivot? What we will do with Power Pivot, we will be discussing in today's class. So for that, first, let me open. So let me give you a high level recap what we discussed in the last class. I'll open now Power BI desktop and I'll show you high level recap what we discussed in the last class. First, we need to open Power BI desktop. To open Power BI desktop, you need to double click on the shortcut. When you double click on the shortcut, it will open the Power BI desktop software. So yesterday, whatever I have done, I'll show you now. So yesterday, once after opening the software, you will get a welcome screen. I said that we are not going to do any development here. Just close this welcome screen. Once you close this welcome screen, you will be landing in the report view. You will be landing in the report view of Power BI desktop. From here, how to open Power Query is yesterday I shown you. Once after opening Power BI desktop, we need to open which software first? Power Query. So if you want to open Power Query, what we need to do? We need to go to Home tab. We need to click on what? Transform data. When I go and click on transform data, it will open a software called what? Power Query software. We call it as Power Query Editor user interface. It will open this. This is the place where you will perform ETL activities. Yesterday I shown you how to perform this ETL activities in this Power Query. How to extract the data I shown you yesterday. How to transform the data I shown you yesterday. How to load the data I shown you yesterday. How to extract the data means to extract the data you need to click on what? New source. New source is the option which is used to extract the data. Yesterday I shown you how to bring the data from Excel. To connect to Excel, you have Excel connector here. Just go and click on Excel and choose Excel file where it is available. It is available in desktop, Power BI material, Power BI introduction. Choose the Excel file, click on open. Once you open, it will show the list of tables you have in the Excel. I want to select the tables what I need for reporting purpose. Just press OK. Now I want to bring some more tables from another Excel file, guys. How to bring it? I want to bring some more tables from another Excel file. I want to bring some more tables from another Excel file. How to bring it? Someone is telling my voice is not clear. Are you facing any audio issues or others?
No, sir. No,
Is
sir.
there
No,
any
sir.
audio issues?
It's fine, sir.
It's fine, right? Right. Thank you. Thank you. Uh, Santosh, others are able to hear me properly. Check from your end, Santosh. Fine.
I
Uh,
don't have
Now,
issue, sir.
once after bringing the tables, I want to bring some more tables into the Power Query from another Excel file. How to bring it some more tables? Again, new source. Anytime when you want to bring the data, we need to click on what? New source. This time another Excel file. Click on Excel. It will open. Now you need to browse another Excel file. Desktop again, same folder. I have EMP DEPT Excel file. From this Excel file, I need to bring the tables. Click on open. You'll find some tables. Select EMP table, DEPT table, and managers table. I want these 3 tables. Press OK. Once after selecting the table, when you press OK, you'll get the tables. Now I want to bring some tables from SQL Server. How to bring the tables from SQL Server? Yesterday I said that click on new source. You need to click on a connector called what? SQL Server, we need to provide the server name. This server name should be provided by our companies. Wherever company we join, that company will provide. Once after providing the server name, database name is optional here. We can ignore it, press OK. It will open the server and it will show the list of databases you have. How many database you have is 8. Yesterday we bought the tables from which database? Product database. We expanded the product database. We selected customers table, products table, and sales table. Press OK. Now you got totally how many tables now? 9 tables. From how many sources you can tell that we bought these 9 tables? How many sources means 3 sources. How many sources? 3 sources. First source is what? Excel. Second source is also what? Excel. Third source is what? SQL Server. Right? 3 sources we bought it. Now, once after bringing the tables into the Power Query, what is the second step? If required, we need to go and do what? Transform the data in the tables. How you need to show in the reports. Sometimes whatever the tables I bought into the Power Query, the data will be in one format here. Client will be expecting in another format. So you need to transform. So it is not mandatory that you need to transform the data in every table. Sometimes when I select some table, the table might have proper data. Currently I'm in which software? Power Query. I selected which table now? Orders table. You can see the data in the orders table. When you look at the data in the orders table, sometimes data will be in the proper format. So I can see the data. Orders table have proper data or not. Orders table have data as per the reporting requirement or not. I can check it. In Power Query, once after bringing the tables, we need to check the tables. We need to check the data in the tables, whether it is in the proper format or not. If it is in the proper format, no transformations required. You don't need to transform the data. If data is not in the proper format, then only we need to transform the data. Now, when I look at the orders table, I find every data in the proper format. No transformations required here. Now, I'll go to people's table. In orders table, we have proper header, order date and their data, ship date and their data. Now I'll go to which table now? People's table. In the people's table, the first row is not data, it is header. So in the people's table, you don't have column headers properly. It is telling that first column, column 1, second column, column 2. It is not the right way. So actually each region have one salesperson. So this region and person is not the data, it is header. West region have one salesperson, East region have one salesperson. You need to move this to the header. How to move this first row to the header is go to what? Home tab, click on what? Use first. I need to transform the data. In people's table, when I look at the data, header is not populated. That means data is not in the proper format. It is not in the proper format. When it is not in the proper format, you need to perform some transformations to make it proper format. You need to move this first row to header. So moving the first row to header is also a transformation, guys. So to perform the transformation in the Power Query, what you need to find out? We need to find out GUI option. Yesterday I said it. To extract the data, you need to find out the GUI option. To transform the data, you need to find out the GUI option. To load the data also, you need to find out the GUI option. We need to find out GUI option, right? Now, what is the GUI option which will move the first row to header is? There is a GUI option called what? Use first row as header. If you go and just go and click on it, it will move the first row to header. Now you have proper column names here. In the same way, I'll go to third table now, returns table. In returns table also same story. The first row is not data, it is header. What are the orders that was returned you have in this table? This first row is not data, it is header. How to move it to the header? Select the returns table, go to home tab, click on what? Use first row as header. As soon as you click on use first row as header, now return and order ID came to header. Like this, you need to go to each table, and in that table, how the data is, you need to check it here. If the data is not in the proper format, you need to perform the transformation. Now, when I select employee table have proper data. When I check the employee table have the data as per our client requirement. See, tomorrow when you join in the company not only provide the data sources, company will tell you what reports you need to generate and what information you need to show. So first you need to understand what reports you need to generate to your company. In that report, what information you need to show, you need to ask the client. Once they explain this, once you understand this, you need to see the data in the tables, whether they are as per expectations or not, as they are expected or not. Now, understand here, when I go to EMP table have proper data. I checked it here, it have well formatted data. DEPT table also have well formatted data. Managers table also having well formatted data. In the last class, we did some transformation in customer data table. In customer data table, customer name is there in how many columns? 3 columns. We derived what yesterday? Client is asking to show in the report's full name. So we derived it. How we derived it is we selected first name, hold the control button, middle name, last name, go to where? Add column, click on merge columns. What is the separator we selected is space. What is the new column name we selected is customer full name. As soon as you press OK, you'll get a new column added. Behind that new column, it will write one M language code. That M language code will transform the data into customer full name. Now, yesterday in the product table, we have product name in the proper case, but in the report, client is asking to show product name in the uppercase. How we transformed it yesterday means we selected the product name column. We went to transform tab, format. We use a GUI option called what? Uppercase. We know that as soon as you click on a GUI option, it will add one new step. Behind that step, it will write mashup language code. That mashup language code will transform the data. Go and click on uppercase. It added a new step and written some mashup code. It got converted to uppercase. Like this, you need to go to each table if required. It is not mandatory that you need to transform the data in all tables. Some tables will have proper formatted data. Only some tables require transformations. You need to do it. Once you are transforming the data in the tables, you need to load the tables to Power Pivot, guys. What is the option in the Power Query will help us to load the tables into the Power Pivot? Close and apply. So you need to click on what? Close and apply. When I go and click on close and apply, these tables will be loaded into where? Power Pivot. When I click on close and apply, how many tables it will load into Power Pivot? 9 tables. So this is the high level recap for last class, guys. What we discussed in the last class is this is what, right? So we connected last class, we connected to few data sources. We extracted the tables, we transformed the data in the tables, we load the tables. Now today, let me talk about Power Pivot, one of the important software for Power BI developer. Now I loaded 9 tables. Where you can find that 9 tables, guys? Model view. You need to go to model view. In the model view, you can find the tables. Now I am in which software again back? Power BI desktop. In Power BI desktop, where you can see the 9 tables which we loaded is in the model view. If you go and check in the model view, you can find all the 9 tables here. We can find all the 9 tables here. Right, check it here. So these 3 tables, you bought it from which source? Customers table, sales table, products table, you bought it from which source? SQL Server. SQL Server. The 3 tables, you brought it from which source? EMP, DEPT Manager, one of the Excel. This 3 tables, you bought it from which source? Orders, people's returns. Orders, people's returns, we bought it from another Excel file. So we bought it from 3 different data sources, guys. Okay. Now, first point you need to understand about the Power Pivot is Power Pivot is a database, guys. Let me talk about Power Pivot. First, I'll write what is the definition of Power Pivot, and then I'll explain clearly what we will do there. Power Pivot is a database. Power Pivot is a database. So tell me, guys, what is the purpose of database? How SQL Server is a database? SQL Server is also what? One database. Oracle is also what? One database. So when you install Power BI Desktop, inbuilt you will get one database with the name called what? Power Pivot. Tell me, what is the purpose of database? Database is used to store the data. Database is used to store data in the form of what? Tables. In the form of tables. Any database you take, it will store the data in the form of tables. Even here, our Power Pivot database also will store the data in the form of tables. Power Pivot also will do what? Store data. It will also store the data in the form of what? Tables. Now tell me, how many tables you loaded into Power Pivot now from Power Query?
9
9 tables I
tables.
loaded, right? All that 9 tables will store here, will store along with the data. See, that 9 tables, when you go to model view, you can see only table definitions. Table definitions. So table definitions means table name, column names. I want to see the data in the table. See, I perform some transformations, right? In customers table, you derived the customer full name. In products table, you converted the product name to uppercase. I need to see the data. Where I can see the data is above the model view, there is one view with the name called what? Data view. The data view will help you to see the data in the table. Let's say when I go to data view, I want to see the product table data. In the data view, go and select which table here? Product data. When I go and select product data, I can see product name column. Product name is in uppercase or not? Now you are seeing the data in which software? In the Power Pivot. I already loaded the tables into where? Power Pivot. We are seeing the data in the Power Pivot. In the Power Pivot, product name is in uppercase. This model view is nothing but Power Pivot, guys. But in the model view, you cannot see the data in the table. Am I able to see what data in the product data table means? No, I can see only table definitions like column names. If you want to see the data in the product table, you need to go to data view. When I go to data view, when I go and select the table, I can see it. Let's say I want to see the data in the customer data table. When I select customer data table, you derived a customer full name column. You are able to see here, right? Right. Like this, once after loading the tables, if you want to see the tables, go to the model view, see the table definitions. If you want to see the data in the table, go to the data view and you can see the data. Okay. We understand that we loaded some 9 tables into the Power Pivot. All the 9 tables along with the data you have in Power Pivot. So all the 9 tables it is storing. How Power Pivot is able to store that 9 tables is it's a database. Its core functionality is to store the data. Okay, let me write here. Okay, it's Power Pivot is a database. This database is used for creating an OLAP model, which is used for creating an OLAP model which is used for creating an OLAP database or OLAP model. If you look at here, this Power Pivot database is used to create some databases. We call them as OLAP databases. The databases will use to create the reports, guys. Okay, fine. We are telling it's a database. There are 2 types of databases available in the market. One type of database we have in the market is relational database. Types of databases. Types of databases. 2 types. One is relational databases. Relational databases. Second one is in-memory databases, guys. In-memory databases. 2 types of databases are there. Relational databases and in-memory database. Examples for relational database. What are the examples for relational databases? SQL Server comes under relational database. Oracle database comes under relational database, etc. Examples for in-memory database. Examples for in-memory database. What are that? This Power Pivot I am talking about comes under in-memory database case. And SAP HANA, which is there in the market, also comes under in-memory database. So I need to just give a high-level idea. So Power Pivot is what type of database? In-memory database. It's not a relational database. It's a in-memory database, a different kind of database. Fine. So here, relational database also will contains what? Tables. It will store the data in the form of tables. In-memory database also will store the data in the form of what? Tables. So, but their architectures are different, guys. The way it stores the data here is different. The way it stores the data here is different. The way these databases will send the data out is different. The way these databases will send the data out is different. One point I need to write is, when you create the reports on in-memory databases, they'll give better performance. When we create reports on in-memory databases, they'll give the better performance, guys. In-memory databases, they will give better performance than relational databases, guys. Then what? Relational databases. When we create the reports on in-memory databases, the reports will give better performance than relational. What is the meaning is, let's say I have some tables in the SQL Server. I can even use these tables to create the reports. I can even share that reports with my client. Let's say you do it. When my client open the report, it is taking 60 seconds of time to load the data. So every time when my client open the report, this report will go to SQL Server. It will bring the data and it will show the data. How much time it is taking in 60 seconds. Same tables I loaded into Power Pivot. Same report I created here. There is no difference in the data. There is no difference in the report. Here also same data. Here also same report. This is the time. Here also same data. Here also same report. And here it will just show the data within less than 10 seconds of time, guys. When this time client open the report, it is showing with less than 10 seconds of time. That means it will give wonderful performance. Here when it is 60 seconds, it is just 10 seconds. How it can give that much better performance, Power Pivot, is because it's a in-memory database, guys. Let me talk about few points about in-memory database. Generally, in-memory databases will give better performance when you create the reports. So first major reason why in-memory databases will give the better performance is, so in the coming classes, I will when I start actual Power Pivot classes, I will discuss what is the difference between relational databases. Relational databases, other name is traditional databases, guys. Traditional databases or relational databases. In the coming classes, I'll discuss clearly the architecture of in-memory database, the architecture of relational database. How in-memory database will give better performance, I'll discuss in the coming classes. For now, few points you understand. Generally, when you create the reports on relational database, it will send the data from disk case. Look at here. In traditional databases or relational databases, data will be stored in the disk and accessed from the disk. First, let me write it and I'll explain, guys. It will store the data in the disk and accessed from the disk. But when it comes to in-memory databases, in in-memory databases, data will be stored in the RAM and accessed from the RAM. Important point is, when you go and create a report on SQL Server, when you share that report with the client, when the client open this report, it will send the data from disk, guys. Disk is nothing but hard disk or SSDs. So this SQL Server will store the data in the disk and send the data from the disk. But when it comes to Power Pivot will store the data in the RAM and it will send the data from the RAM, guys. So which one is best, better performance? Disk will give better performance or RAM will give better performance? RAM will give tens of time better performance than disk, guys. Right? The major reason when you create the reports on in-memory database, why it will give better performance means this relational databases, they will send the data from disk. These databases will send the data from RAM. RAM is tens of times faster than the disk. That is the main reason. So that is the reason Power Pivot, they not only, what is the another name for RAM? What is the another name for RAM is, it's a in-memory. Another name for RAM is in-memory. So that is the reason this Power Pivot, people will call it as not a simple database. People will call it as a in-memory database, guys. What is this? In-memory database. Why they call it as an in-memory database means Power Pivot will store the data in where? RAM. It will send the data from where? RAM. That is the reason they call it as in-memory database. Okay, that is the first point. Second point is, so the way it stores the data also different, guys. Look at here. When it comes to SQL Server, data will be stored in the row format internally. What is that row format? I'll discuss in the coming classes. But when it comes to Power Pivot, the data will be stored in the columnar format. For now, you by heart it. I'll explain in the coming classes. So let me write the 2 points also. In traditional databases or relational databases, data will be stored in the row format. This relational databases, how the data will be stored is in the row format. But when it comes to in-memory databases data will be stored in not here. Let me copy other point. In in-memory databases, data will be stored in the columnar format. In the coming classes, here it is row format, here it is columnar format. Clearly, I'll discuss what is row format, what is columnar format. Clearly, I'll discuss what is this row storage, how it will store the data in the relational databases, what is columnar storage, how it will store the data. Why we need to understand this columnar storage is, when you store the data in the columnar format, it will give even better performance. There are some more advantages with columnar format. Let me write advantages of columnar format. Advantages of columnar format. When we store the data in the columnar format, we have some more advantages. What are the some more advantages you will have is, data will be highly compressed when you store the data in the columnar format. Data will be highly compressed. Highly compressed. So data will be highly compressed means data size will reduce or increase. So we are telling that when you store the data in the row format, so it will not compress the data, it will occupy more space. I'll talk about it. When you store the data in the Power Pivot data will be stored in the columnar format. When you store the data in the columnar format, data will be compressed. Compressed means data size will reduce, guys. Till what extent it will reduce is 1 by 10th of source data it will reduce. 1 by 10th. So let's say in SQL Server, to store some data, if it is occupying 100 GB space, same data when I load into Power Pivot, it will approximately occupy how much space? Only 10 GB. 1 by 10th of 100 GB is 10 GB. That means how much space you are saving in Power Pivot means 90 GB space you are saving it. Only how you are saving this 90 GB space is because of columnar format. So in the coming classes, with practical example, I'll tell you what is row storage, why it will occupy more space, why it will occupy more space. What is columnar storage? When you store the data in the columnar format, how the data will be compressed, how the data will be occupying only 1 by 10th of source data. I'll discuss with practical examples, guys. Not only this, there are even some more advantages of columnar format. I'll talk about them in the coming classes. For now, few points you need to understand is important points. When you go and create the reports on SQL Server, it takes more time to show the data in the report. But when you go and create the reports on Power Pivot, within fraction of seconds, it will show the data in the report. Main reason is because of RAM. It will send the data from RAM. And few points what we understand difference between relational databases and in-memory databases. Tell me, guys. SQL Server comes under relational database. Our Power Pivot comes under in-memory database. Power Pivot comes under in-memory database. What are the differences we discussed is? First difference we said is it's a relational database, and this Power Pivot comes under a in-memory database. Tell me, in Power Pivot, data will be in SQL Server, data will be stored in which format we said? It is what? Row format.
Row.
In Power Pivot, it will store in which format? Columnar
Columnar.
format. So in relational database, data will be stored in where and sent from where? Disk. When it comes
Disk.
to in-memory database, data will be stored in where? RAM. When it comes to relational database, uh, another point we discussed is data will be compressed, I said. So when it comes to relational database, if it is occupying 100 GB space, the same data when I load into in-memory database, how much space it will occupy? Approximately 10 GB. What happens is data will be compressed. So here data will be compressed. Whatever the points I listed here, every point with the detailed explanation, I'll discuss in the coming classes. I written few differences between relational databases and in-memory databases. Which database is best to create the reports? Whether relational database is best to create the reports or in-memory? No doubt, in-memory database is
In
best to create the reports. They will give tens of time better performance than relational databases. Okay. Now we understand this Power Pivot is a database which was purely used for reporting purpose, guys. It's a costly database. Why it's a costly database is Power Pivot completely stores the data in where? RAM. So here it will store the data in where? Disk. Disk is costlier or RAM is costly? RAM is lot of costly. So if you want to go with this database, we need a high-end configuration system. High-end configuration system. It is costly, guys. Right. So you will understand a lot of differences here, how it will internally store the data. I want to tell one point. This database is purely developed for reporting purpose. Microsoft who developed this database? Microsoft it. They developed this for reporting purpose. Whatever I explain here, nothing to do anything as a developer, guys. So on the total, Power Pivot then not only call it as just a in-memory database, they call it as in-memory columnar database. What is the full name for Power Pivot? It's a in-memory columnar database. Why they are calling first it as a database means it stores the data in the form of tables. In the form of tables, that is the reason they call it as database. Why they call it as in-memory database means it will store the data in the where? RAM, and it send the data from the RAM. That is the reason they call it as in-memory. This Power Pivot will store the data in which format? Columnar format. So that is the reason people will call this as in-memory columnar database, which will use to create the OLAP databases. That OLAP databases we used for creating the reports. When the client open the reports, within fraction of second, they can see the data in the report. That much powerful performance this database will give. Right. Whatever I discussed here in the last 15 minutes about Power Pivot, nothing to do as a developer, guys. All this are Power Pivot capabilities. All the credit goes to Microsoft, whether it is compressing the data or whether it is storing the data in the RAM, whether the report is giving better performance, all the credit goes to Microsoft. Now, let me tell you one point. As a Power BI developer, we will not do anything here. It will be automatically done in the backend. Right now, what Power BI developer will do. In Power Query, Power BI developer will do ETL activities, right? In the same way, in the Power Pivot, what Power BI developer will do, I'll discuss now. As a Power BI developer, as a Power BI developer in Power Pivot, we will perform two activities. We will perform two activities. What are the two activities we will perform here is two activities to create an OLAP database. To create an OLAP database. Understand? As a Power BI developer in the Power Pivot software, will perform two activities to create the OLAP database. So we know that in Power Pivot will create OLAP database. In order to create the OLAP database in Power Pivot, Power BI developer need to do how many works? Means two works. What are the two works is? Important works. First work is data modeling work. Second work you need to do is enhancing the data model with DAX language. Enhancing the data model using a language called what? DAX language. People will ask DAX language, right? Where the DAX language will get is DAX language will get in Power Pivot, and the DAX language is useful to create what? OLAP databases. So in order to create a OLAP database in Power Pivot, you need to do these two works. When you do the data modeling, when you enhance the data model, these two together will create what? OLAP database. That OLAP database is used to create the reports. Now let me talk about what is this data modeling, what is this enhancing the data model. Okay, you're telling that in Power Pivot you need to do two works. What are those two works? Let me talk about it. First we'll talk about data modeling, guys. First work we are going to do in Power Pivot is data modeling. Once after data modeling, we'll talk about enhancing the data model. First, let me give the definition of data modeling. What is the definition of data modeling means? Establishing the relationships between tables we call as data modeling. Establishing the relationship between the tables we call it as data modeling. See, you have table 1, you have table 2, you have table 3 here. The process of giving the relationships between these tables we call it as data modeling. This lines are nothing but relationship. If you see, I loaded a couple of tables into Power Pivot. Here, when I load the tables, you are getting automatically a line between sales table and customers table. You are getting another line between sales table and products table. These lines are nothing but relationships. I'll talk about them. Why it is necessary, I'll talk about them. The first thing you need to do is once you load the tables into the Power Pivot, between the tables you need to give the relationships. One important point you need to understand is majority of the relationships or majority of data modeling work, majority of data modeling work will be done by data modeling work will be done by Power BI itself, guys. Which one will do? Power BI itself will do. So if you look at here, who given these relationships? I'm not the one who given it. You got it automatically. Automatically. Which one is giving that relationships is Power BI. But if you look at these tables, we don't have a relationship between EMP table, a DPT table and managers table. I don't have any relationships. We need to give it. Why we need to give it, I'll discuss. But in Power BI, I have a lot of intelligence to give the relationships automatically by itself. Look at here. Between orders table, people's table, and returns table, also you don't have the relationship. So you can ask Power BI to create these relationships. How Power BI will create the relationships is go to the model view. In the model view, go to manage relationships. When I go to manage relationship, there is a button called what? Auto detect. When I go and click on auto detect, it establishes 3 more new relationships. When I go and click on close, when I close it, now if you go and check it, you got some more relationships. Now between EMP table, DEPT table, and managers table, also you got the relationships. And between these 3 tables, most of the tables you got the relationship, right? That is what I written. Majority of data modeling work will be done by Power BI itself. How it can do is in the file menu, options and settings, options. When I go there, there are 2 settings. Go to current file, data load. When you go to data load, there is one section with the name called relationship. When I go to relationship, there are 2 checkboxes. Import relationship from data source on first load, auto detect new relationships once data is loaded. These two checkboxes will work in the back end and they will do 90% of data modeling work automatically. So Power BI developer only need to establish the missing relationships between most of the tables. Already you got these relationships. The process of giving these relationships, we call it as data modeling. Okay, fine. We'll discuss how this Power BI have the intelligence to do this majority of data modeling work. We'll discuss. Now the question is why we need to give the relationship. Okay, you loaded the tables into the Power Pivot. What is the problem when you don't have the relationship? We are telling that once after loading the tables, so what we are trying to tell is once after extracting the tables from the sources, once after transforming the data in the tables, once after loading the tables into the Power Pivot, between the tables we are telling that we need to give relationships. Why we need to have this relationship? What is the problem if you don't have it? In interview, let's say interviewer is asking a question, why we need to do data modeling, or what is the need of establishing the relationships? Why we need to, same question, why we need to establish the relationship between the tables? Both are same, guys. Questions are same, they frame in a different way. For this, let me answer it. What is the answer is, generally companies will store their business data in multiple tables, guys. Take an example. There is a company called Flipkart. Flipkart will have customers data, customers data. Flipkart will have some products data. Flipkart will have some sales data. Generally, one way what Flipkart will do is they can go and store all the data in one table. They can create one big table. In that big table itself, they can store customer data, they can store products data, and they can store what? Sales data. Sales data. When you store all the data in one big table, what is the problem is managing the table will become difficult. Going and managing the table will become difficult. So if you want to go on, when you have everything in one table, table might have hundreds of columns. From hundreds of columns, getting the customer data will be difficult, getting the products data will be difficult. To manage the data easily, companies will store data in a different tables. Customer data they are storing in a separate table, sales data they are storing in a separate table, products data they are storing in a separate table. Why companies will store the data in the different tables is for easy managing purpose. Any data you take, companies will store in multiple tables, not a single table. Here also, I join in one company as an employee. We join in the company as one what? One employee. When I join in the company as an employee, I'll provide my details. When I provide my employee details, few of the employee details will be stored in employee table. Few of the employee details will be stored in manage department table. Few of the employee details will be stored in the manager table. Any business data, when company is getting some business data, so for easy managing purpose, that business data will be stored in many tables. Many tables. Okay, we understand data will be stored in many tables. We bought that many tables to the Power Pivot. So between that many tables, we are telling that we need to give the relationship. What might be the reason is, let me tell you guys. So in EMP table, what data is there? I want to see it. I want to see in EMP data what data is there. Where we can see the data? In the data view. Go to data view and select which table now? Employee table. What is the first column you have in the employee table? Employee number or employee ID. What is the second column you have? Employee name, job, who is the manager for him, on what date he joined in the company, salary, commission, department number. Let's take any one of the employee. Let's take a employee called Adams, guys. Adams is a clerk in that company. His manager is 7788 and he joined in this date. His salary is 1100. His department number is 20. So when an employee is there, he will be working in one of the location, right? So Adams is working in which location? Do you have in the employee table? In the employee table, we don't have what? Location information. When an employee is there, he will be working for one of the department name. He might be working for either a sales department, he will be working for a HR department. So is there any department name information in the employee table? Means no. In employee table, I don't see the location information of this employee. I don't see the department name information of this employee. The company is storing this two information in another table called what? Department table. Adams belongs to which department? Adams belongs to 20th. So when I go to DEPT table, 20th department employees belongs to which D name? Research. They are working from which location? Dallas. That means Adams is Working for which department name is research. Working for which location means Dallas. Now there is one employee called clerk guys. Clerk also will be working from one location, right? Might be he will be working from Hyderabad, Bangalore, on some location, right? So which location clerk is working? Where I can see that department table. Clerk is having which department number? 10. 10th department employees are working for what? Accounting and New York. Understand? In the employee name is employee details means employee name will be there. Employee name they are storing in which table? Employee table. Employee location will be there. Employee location they are storing in which table? Like this, same employee details, few details they are storing in employee table, few other details they are storing in where? Department table. Like this, companies will store the business data in multiple tables, guys. Okay, we understand they are storing in multiple tables. Now most of the times we are trying to understand answer for this question, guys. Most of the times clients will ask us to create the visuals. Clients will ask us to create the visuals using more than one tables, guys. Create visuals using more than one tables. That means my client is asking to create one visual. Now already you have some tables in the Power Pivot. You can use the tables to create what? Reports are visuals. Where you can create the reports or visuals means in where? Report view. When you go to report view, you'll get report canvas. In this report canvas, what you will do? You'll build the visuals. Whatever the tables you loaded from Power Query to Power Pivot, you will see in where? Model view. If you want to see the data in the tables, you can see in where? Data view. If you want to create the reports on the tables, you need to go to where? Report view. In the report view, you will get report canvas. You can build the visuals here. I need to build one visual. Uh, Here, when you are in the report view, you will have what? Visualization. You can choose any of the visual here to present this data in the report format, visual format. Now, my client is asking to show employee name and location. I'm taking one table visual. In the table visual, in this report, take this as report or visual. It's one report, or you can even call it as a visual. So in this report or visual, my client is asking to show employee name and my client is asking to show location. Tell me, employee name is available in which table out of these tables? 9 tables? Employee table. You need to drag the employee table. Location column is available in which table? Department table.
Department.
That means client is asking to create this visual using how many tables? Using
Two
more than
tables.
one tables. Two tables they're asking, right? Right. Now I'll just go and drag employee name. Is it showing the employee name is comfortably showing? Along with the employee name, I'll go and drag the job also. Job column also available in which table? Same employee table. Go and drag the job. Along with the job, I'll go and drag salary column. It will show comfortably. I'll go and or else salary column I don't want it. Let's go with department number column. It is showing department number comfortably. So far in this visual, I'm taking the columns from only employee table. It is showing it. Now my client is telling along with the department number, they're expecting to see DNAME and location also here. What they're expecting to see here? DNAME and location. Now DNAME and location you need to bring it from which table? DEPT table. Adams belongs to 20th department. 20th department DNAME is research. Location is what? Dallas. I need to show it. Clark belongs to 10th department. 10th department DNAME is accounting. Location is New York. I need to show that. When I want to show that, I need to go and drag the columns from here. Now we are trying to understand the importance of this relationship, right? First, I'll go and delete this relationship, and then I'll tell you what is the importance of this relationship. So now EMP table and DEPT table is independent to each other or not? They're independent.
Yes.
We don't have any relationship. Now, so far, when I take the columns from only one table, it is comfortably showing the data. And now I'm going to another table, DEPT table. I'm going to drag DNAME. I'm going to drag location. Is the visual showing the data now? No.
No.
So when I go and remove the location and DNAME again, is it showing the data? What we noticed
Yes.
is when we take the columns from only one table into the visual, it is comfortably showing the data. When I go to another table, when I try to drag the data, it is not showing. But most of the times, whenever client is asking to create the visuals, they will ask you to create using what? More than one tables. When I go and try to track the columns from more than one tables, it's not showing the data. What might be the reason means when I go and click on see details, what is the error message it is telling? Cannot determine the relationship between the fields. You are trying to drag the columns from two different tables. There is no relationship between the tables. That is the reason we are not able to see it. In order to see the data in this visual, what you need to do is you need to go to model view, and in the model view you need to go and give the relationship. If you give the relationship, then visual will show the data comfortably. Understand? Now I created a visual using employee table and DEPT table. Now visual is not showing the data. Why it is not showing the data? No relationship. If you want to see the data here, we need to give the relationship. Now important point is, first point is where you need to go and give the relationship. You need to go to model view. In the model view we need to give the relationship. Let me write that point. Where we will do the data modeling work in Power Pivot, first work we are going to do is data modeling. In order to do data modeling, where I need to go and do it is you need to go to model view, and in model view you need to give the relationship. Let me write that point. Model view is the place where we will do data modeling activities. Model view is the place where we will do data modeling activities. What? Data modeling activities. Model view is the place where we'll do data modeling activities. Correct. Now, in order to give the relationship between the two tables, you need to have a common column, guys. In order to give the relationship between the two tables, what you need to have? Common column. So, how you people are telling this, the, this Clark belongs to accounting, Clark belongs to New York location. How you people are telling Clark belongs to accounting and New York? Based on what? Department number. Based on department number. Clark department number is 10. As the 10th department employees belong to accounting and New York, you are concluding that Clark is from accounting department name, New York location. How you people are telling the Smith is there? Smith belongs to which department? 20. So that means research department name and location is what? Dallas. How you are able to tell that is
Del.
based on department number 2020. That means whenever we need to establish the relationship between the tables, we are telling that we need to have the common column between the tables. To establish the relationship between the tables, what we need to have? Written in the tables, we need to have common column. We need to have one column called common column. When you have common column, then only we can give the relationship. Now tell me, do you have any common column in EMP and DEPT? Which column you have? Department number. With that
Department, yeah.
department number, you need to give what? Relationship. So you need to go to any one table and you need to select the department number column. Either you go to employee table, select the department number column. Either you go to DEPT table, select the department number column. Hold the column with the mouse, drag and drop on the same column. Giving the relationship is simple. In order to give the relationship between the tables, first you need to come to model view and then go to table where we have the common column. Hold the column with the mouse, drag and drop on exactly same column. When you drag and drop on exactly same column, you got the relationship. Now tell me, will you see the data in the visual now? Yes. When I go and check the data in the visual, you can see it. Now you are seeing Adams working for which department name? Research. Which location? Dallas. Is it correct? Yes. Clark belongs to which department name? Accounting, New York. It is showing the data correctly. Now you are showing the data in this visual from how many tables? Two tables.
Two
Now
tables.
tell me, to create the visuals, what you need to do?
Manage the relationship.
Ah, we need to give the relationship. Let me write here. So first thing, why, now the question is, you answer it. Why we need to do data modeling or why we need to establish the relationship between the tables is, majority of the cases clients will ask us to create the visuals on more than one tables. To create the visuals on more than one tables, to create visuals on more than one tables, we need to establish the relationship between the tables, guys. We need to do the data modeling or we need to establish the relationship between the tables. If you are not establishing the relationship between the tables, it is not possible to create the visuals on what? More than one tables. Let's say my client is asking to show customer name wise sales. What they're asking to show here? Customer data table is there, Sales data table is there. They're asking to show customer full name. They're asking to show sales. Tell me, customer name is available in which table? In visual, they want to see each customer, how much sales they are doing. Customer name column is available in where? Customer data
Customer
table.
data.
Sales amount column is available in where? Sales data table.
Sales.
If you want to show customer name by sales, what you need to have? Relationship.
Relationship
To
between
establish the relationship, what you need to have? Common column. What is the common column you
Common
have between these two tables is? What is the common column you have is what?
customer key.
customer key.
You got a relationship here. Now, can I show customer name wise means sales means? Yes. If you don't
Yes.
have this relationship, it is not possible to show customer name wise sales. Let's say my client is asking to show product name wise sales. So to show product name wise sales, product name column is available in which table? Product
Product
table,
data.
product data table. Sales amount is available in where? Sales data table. So to show this, you need to use these two tables, product wise sales. To show it, you need to have what? Relationship. So
Common
to establish the relationship, you need to have what? Common column. What is the common column here? Product key,
product.
product key. So who is giving these relationships automatically means Power BI have the intelligence to give that relationships automatically. I'll discuss what is happening in the back end to get these relationships automatically. I'll clearly discuss in the coming classes. For now, you need to understand why we need to do the data modeling, guys. Now let's say my client is asking to create one of the report using orders table and returns table, guys. My client is asking to create one visual using orders table and returns table. Is it possible to create now
Yes.
using these two tables? Is it possible to create a visual? No.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
There is no relationship. When you even go and drag it, visual will not show the data. In order to show the data, first you need to establish what? Relationship. To
Relation.
establish the relationship, what you need to have? Common column. What is the common column here? Order ID. Just
Order.
go and select order ID from one table, drag and drop on order ID in another table. When you give the relationship, now can I use these two tables for creating the visuals? Yes.
Yes.
Like this. First you load the tables into the Power Pivot and give the relationships. So then only you can go and start creating the visuals on multiple tables. Important point you need to. So some people will ask one question here. Let's say I have table 1 and I have table 2. I don't have common column in these two tables. What you are telling is there is no common column in these two tables. Then can I go and create a visual using these two tables? Means no. In order to create one visual using two tables, must and should there should exist what? Common column. If there is no common column, you cannot give the relationship. If you're not able to give the relationships, you cannot create what? Visuals. Client never asks you to show the data in the visual when there is no common data. In table 1 and table 2, when there is no common data, client never asks you to show the data in the visual case. When there is any common data in the table, then only client will expect to see that common data in same visual. So when there is common data in the table, obviously companies will maintain common column, right? So you don't want to bother. So for your question, when there is no common data in the tables, never client will ask you to show the data. Let's say there is product data table and department table. They never ask you to create a visual using these two tables. Why? Because the two tables does not have what? Common data. When there is common data, then only they'll ask you. Right? We understand first part, guys. So data modeling itself I'll discuss for 5 hours of time. I just given an introduction. Look at here. When I start actual Power Pivot classes, let me, when I go to Power Pivot classes, lot of data modeling activities will cover. Around 5 hours of time, we'll extensively discuss data modeling concepts. In data modeling concepts, we'll discuss data warehousing concepts also. What is dimension columns? What is fact columns? What is dimension tables? What is fact tables? What are the types of cardinalities we have? Right? Every point, data modeling concepts itself, we'll discuss for 5 hours of time. What is schema? Different types of schemas will be there. One of the important area for Power BI developer is this data modeling. So you need to build a effective data model. Then only your reports will give better performance. If you're not building a effective data model, then reports will show wrong data and it will performance will degrade. So we'll discuss a lot of things here about what is schemas, what is this cardinalities, lot of things about data modeling. But see, just data modeling itself will be discussing for how many hours of time? 5 hours. Today I just given an introduction to data modeling. Okay. So far what happened is we extracted the tables from the sources, we transformed the data in the tables, we loaded the tables, between the tables we given the relationships, guys. Now I can go and use these tables and relationships to start creating what? Reports and visuals. Whatever the tables you have, whatever the relationships you have, you can use these tables and relationships to start creating the reports or visuals. You can go and start creating the reports here. We can go and start building the visuals. But with this data model, you can show only 70 to 80% of information in the reports or visuals. Let me write one point here. So important point, try to understand. Let me copy paste some points here. Instead of typing it, I'll quickly copy paste few points here. Right. So let me copy these points, few points. When you join in the company as a Power BI developer, to the Power BI developer, clients will provide what? Data sources. To the Power BI developer, clients will provide the data sources. The clients not only provide the data sources, and clients will ask Power BI developer to show some information in the visuals. Clients will tell us, they not only provide the data source, clients will tell us they want to see what? Reports. Reports or visuals. They will tell us what information they want to see. So to show that information, you bought the tables, you transform the data in the tables, you loaded the tables, you given the relationships. These tables and relationships, together we call it as data model. Together we call it as data model. You have done the data model. But with the data model is nothing but what? Tables and relationships. We can show only 70 to 80% of information in the visuals. Whatever the tables you bought now, whatever the relationships you established now, the tables and relationships hardly will help us to show only 70 to 80% of information what your client is asking. These tables and relationships will not help you to show 100% of information. Let me give an example. First example is, my client is asking to create one visual here. In that visual, client is asking to show employee name, salary, commission. In this visual, client is asking to show employee name, salary, commission. These columns are available in which table? Employee table. I can go to employee table. I can drag employee name. I can drag salary. I can drag commission. Till now, I'm able to show comfortably employee name, salary, and commission. Beside that, I want to show total salary. What I need to show here? Total salary. To show the total salary, salary plus commission, 1900, I need to show it. When I go to employee table, do you have total salary information? Means no. When I go and check my employee table, nowhere you have total salary. Total salary is a information, new information, which client is asking to show in the visual, which is not available in the table. So that's what we're telling. The tables will help us to show only 70 to 80% of information in the visuals. Sometimes clients will ask us to show new information in the visuals, which is not readily available in the data model. Whatever the data model we build, it will not be there. Let's take an example. Let me give another example. I have an orders table. Using the orders table, I have a column called region column. I have a column called sales column. My client is asking to show region wise sales. My client is asking to create one visual. In the visual, client is asking to show region wise sales. I can show it comfortably. I can drag the region. I can drag the sales. I'm comfortably showing each region how much sales we are getting. But my client is asking to show percentage sales beside here. When my client is asking to show percentage sales, when I go and check in my orders table, you don't find a information called percentage sales. But client is asking to show each region how much percentage sales it is showing. Client is asking to show some new information in the visual, which is not readily available in where? Orders table. It is not readily available in the orders table. Client is asking to show here. Client is asking to show. So I'm not able to show percentage sales now as it is not there readily available. Let me give another example. I have a order date column and I have a sales column. We have orders starting from 2014 year to 2017 year. How many years orders you have is in order date, we have data from 2014, 2015, 2016 and 2017. 4-year orders are there. My client is asking to show each year wise sales. I can show comfortably. I'll go to order date. I'll drag the year column. I'll go and drag the sales column. I can show each year wise sales. My client is asking to show percentage year over year growth. So my client is asking to show some information called percentage year over year growth. That means I want to find out the growth of 2016. If you want to find out the growth of 2016, you need to compare 2016 sales with 2015 sales and you need to find the growth. Now, when I go and check my orders table, you don't find year over year growth, guys. Now, lot of times your client will ask you to show some new information in the visuals, guys. What they will ask you to show is new information. So I said that examples for new information is, first one is, what is the first new information your client is asking to show? Total salary. What is the second new information? Percentage sales. What is the third new information? Percentage year over year growth.
Growth.
So etc. This kind of new information client will ask you to show in the visuals. That new information will not readily available in data model. That will not be readily available. Only how much of information will be readily available? Maximum 80. Remaining 20% of information, who need to derive it? We need to derive it. Who need to derive it means Power BI developer. Power BI developer need to derive and we need to show it. Now, to complete this visual, I need to show total salary. Who need to derive the total salary means Power BI developer. To complete this visual, you need to show percentage sales. Who need to derive this is Power BI developer. To complete this visual, you need to show what? Percentage year over year growth. Who need to derive it is Power BI developer. Where Power BI developer will derive it is using something called what? Enhancing the
Dax.
data model. Now, whatever the data model I created, the data model is supporting me to show only 70 to 80%. To show remaining 20%, I need to go and make changes to the data model. Making the changes to the data model, we call it as what? Enhancing the data model. So you need to enhance the data model using which language? DAX language. In order to derive the second part of Power Pivot, so generally whatever you are going to create in the Power Pivot, that OLAP database need to support 100% of information. Whatever the OLAP database you are going to create in Power Pivot, it need to support to show all the information what your client is asking. Now you loaded the tables and you given the relationships. That will support only 80%. To support remaining 20%, you need to go and make the changes to the data model. Making the changes to the data model, we call it as what? Enhancing the data model. So in order to create this new information, we will use one language called what? DAX language. In tomorrow's class, I'll clearly discuss how we will use this DAX language, how we will derive the new information. When you derive the new information, then only we can show 100% of information in the visual. Understand? In Power Pivot, to complete the OLAP database, only data modeling is not sufficient. Along with the data modeling, you want to do what? Enhancing the. When you do both, then only your OLAP database is ready. Then only that OLAP database will allow you to show how much information? 100% of information. In the next class, so tomorrow's class is class number 4. In the class 4, we'll talk about something called what? Enhancing the data model using which language? DAX language. One of the important area for the Power BI developer. Right. So we'll stop here for today. We'll continue from here in tomorrow's class, guys. An important update. We're done with the 3 introduction classes. So I'll share this 3 introduction classes videos with you. So to attend tomorrow's class, we are done with 3 free classes. Online people need to collect new meeting link. This link will not work tomorrow. Only for the registered people, you'll get the new meeting link. So using the new meeting link, you need to join the tomorrow's class. If you are fine with the free classes, I recommend go and register and collect the new meeting link. So as soon as you register, you'll get a couple of mails from me. I'll go with the questions just a few seconds. As soon as you register with us, you'll get a couple of mails from me. What is the first mail you are going to get is? The first mail you will get is this: source files and materials. I'll share one mail with the name called Power BI source files and materials. In that mail, what you will have is whatever the Excel files I'm using, you will have it. So today I used one Excel file with the name called what? Sample Superstore. You need to download it and you need to use it for practicals. Another file I used today is what? EMP DEPT. I'm not only taking the data from Excel files today. I have taken the data from where? SQL Server. For you people to practice how you'll take the data from SQL Server, you'll get second mail. So the people who registered will get 2 mails today, guys. What are the 2 mails you'll get is, first mail is source files, Excel source files, you'll get it. You can download that Excel source files and you can practice it. Second mail you will get is SQL Server related mail, guys. SQL Server. What you need to do is you will get another mail with the name called SQL Server installation. SQL Server installation database backup files. Look at here in this mail, second mail, you'll have one video, guys. What is the video name? SQL Server installation. Understand, in order to practice Power BI desktop in your laptop, you install which software today? So I already explained yesterday, in order to practice Power BI desktop in your laptop, you need to install Power BI desktop software. You not only want to install Power BI desktop software in your laptop, you need to install another software called what? SQL Server. Why? Because you guys need to practice Power BI desktop, you need to take the data from SQL Server. To take the data from SQL Server, you need to even install SQL Server. So you'll get a video here. That video will clearly explain you 3 things. This video will explain you how to install SQL Server in your laptop. How to install SQL Server. It will not only explain how to install SQL Server, it will help you how to create 8 databases in the SQL Server. So I totally use 8 different databases in Power BI classes. How to create that 8 databases in the SQL Server, it will explain. And not only that video will explain how to create these databases, how to connect to these databases from Power BI desktop, it will explain, guys. So here in the second mail, you'll get one video. Using that video, you need to understand 3 things. First one, using that video, you need to install SQL Server. Second thing, using that video, you need to create databases. Create 8 databases. You need to know how to create 8 databases. And third thing you need to know from this video is how to connect to SQL Server from Power BI desktop. How to connect SQL Server from Power BI desktop. So you already installed SQL Server, you already installed Power BI desktop in your laptops. From this Power BI desktop, how to connect to SQL Server, how to bring the data also you'll find in that video. So you go through the video and do these 3 works, guys, before next class, right? Fine. I'm done with the class. We'll go with some questions now. So people who are fine with the classes, don't wait till last minute. Register and collect these 2 mails and start practicals. So practicals are important here. Power BI is a no code software. It's a no code, right? If you want to remember the things, practice is much needed. Everything is option. You want to remember the options, where the options are available. To remember the options, lot of practice required. Don't wait, don't waste the time. Start the practicals as early as possible. Let's go with the questions. Please raise your hands. I'll ask one by one if you have any questions.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir, you just showed us that there is a snowflake schema is also there.
What is that?
A snowflake schema you had shown in the one of the notebook
Not
drive.
snow. That is not Snowflake database. Snowflake schema is
Okay.
different. Snowflake database is different.
Okay, I was thinking the same. And
No,
second thing is, many times,
both are complete.
many a times we use Power BI for data analysis, right? And many a times we use for data reporting. Now, can Power BI show the live data metrics
Yes,
from connecting with the
Power BI will
software?
show live data. There are 2 types of connections. When you connect to the data
Okay.
sources, there is 2 types of connections. When I go here, SQL Server, one is import, second one is direct query. If you want to see the live data, we need to go with direct query. It can show.
It can show. Fine.
It can show.
And third thing is, many times we have to use statistics to get the data. Means as you had shown just now the percentage of sales or the sum of sales or year of year growth,
Mm,
like that.
mm,
Many
mm.
times we have to use the statistical formulas, like we have to find the median, we
Yes,
have to find the mean, and
yes.
all that stuff.
Right.
So that is also
Mm.
done through DAX, or there are some other things.
No, DAX only will do that. DAX have a lot of functions in it. We use that functions to do
Okay.
any kind of request. Let's your client ask any information. We can derive it and we can show it using a language called DAX. We'll discuss that.
So
Any kind of analysis you can
DAX and
perform.
mashup
Hmm.
language are the same or different?
No, no. Mashup language is completely different. Mashup language will come in Power Query, which will help you
Okay.
just transform the data. But
Okay.
DAX language will come in Power Pivot, which will help you in performing analysis. What is the full form for DAX? You know, data, analysis, expressions, language. You'll write some expressions
Data
in the
analysis.
DAX. That expressions will help you in analysis. Any whatever the analysis you are talking about, like median, whatever it is, mean,
Hmm.
sum, whatever analysis, that you will do it with DAX language.
Thank you, sir.
Amit, unmute and proceed with your question, Amit.
Yes, sir. So today we were reviewing multiple tables, wherein they were having only 8 to 10 fields or rows or columns. But whenever we will be having a bigger data set, how can we easily see like which column has the correct
Tomorrow
format,
when
which
you
column
go and
is
join in the company, companies will give the KT sessions, guys. In the KT sessions, they'll clearly explain how they are storing the business data, what tables are there, between the tables, what common columns are there. So it's the responsibility to the company to explain it. Company will provide the KT sessions when you start one project. There will be one person who know everything about this database. That person will help Power BI developer to understand the source data.
no, let's suppose we are picking up Excel based files, right? And every Excel files everyone cannot explain, and it has a bigger data in it, like 10,000 line item. So how
Hmm.
can we make sure that every
See,
line item
without
has the
explaining the
data in the
business
correct
data, what you
format?
will understand? There will be someone to explain the business. Why? See, when you are working with Power BI reports, there will be some clients who want to give the requirements. That clients know about their business data. Without the requirements, how can you start the work? I can
Sir, I'm
develop
not
whatever
talking
my
here
understanding.
about
I
business
can
data.
understand
I'm
some.
just
You are talking about what then?
I'm talking about the data they have given us. But in that data, some of the rows or columns doesn't have the proper format in it. Like today we were reviewing the small tables or small uh, employee code or small tables which are easily visible. But let's suppose one Excel file has 10,000 and 20,000 rows. How can we easily identify?
How can we easily identify? Means somewhere we need to
Like
go and
what
check
is
the
the
data.
whether all the rows, all the columns, all the cells has
Say
the
Power Query,
data in the
yes,
correct
Power Query
format?
have the options to do that. When you go to View tab, in the View tab, there is a something called Data Preview or Column Profile. When you go here, when I go and check the column quality, it will tell you that columns have how many valid records, how many error records, how many empty records. They will tell you.
Yeah, that is
Column
what I
profile
was
when you do,
asking.
there is a options where we can understand the data, what it contains in Power Query.
And sir, one more thing, like in last 3 days we are having these classes, and out of these 3 classes we hardly done practical of 5%. So the flow will be the same or like
See how the flow will be same. First, see, you know something about Power BI, man. You are expecting practicals. If I go and do the practicals directly, other people what they can understand. This is 5 introduction classes. This 5 introduction classes, 70% will be theoretical only. 30% will be practical. This is not the actual classes. When I start the actual classes, 80% is practicals. 20% is theoreticals. These are just introduction classes. These 5 classes are not practicals at all. These 5 classes are nothing. They are just introduction classes. After these 5 classes, you will have 60 hours of training. That 60 hours of training classes, 80% is practicals. Only 20% is theoreticals. What I'm going to explain in this 5 hours is I'm going to explain about the ecosystem, what we have in Power BI, what each software will do. Without this basics, if I go and do the practicals, what you can understand? As what is Power Pivot, where it will store the data means what you will tell, you will not understand. As these are introduction classes, I'm mostly concentrating on how each component will work. When I start actual Power Query classes, these are not actual classes. In the actual classes, Power Query will be discussed for 15 hours of time. In that 15 hours of time, 80% of things are practicals only. Even 90% of things are practicals. Only theoreticals is just 10 to 20%.
Okay.
Getting my point, Amit?
Sure, sir. And sir, we will be doing the practical sessions live together, or like
No, no.
after the class
Once
you
after the
will
class,
share
we'll do
the.
it. Not lab together. Once after the class, we'll do it. I'll do that in the class. I'll record it. I'll share that recording to you. You can go through that recording. You can do the practicals.
And like while doing that practical practice, we are facing some issues and challenges. Like, then what
Yes,
should we do?
obviously, you'll face the issues and challenges. We have a support team to help you. We have a dedicated support team where I will provide some contact numbers, where I will provide some email ID. The team will be available from morning 9 a.m. to 8 a.m. to help you.
Okay.
Any
Hmm.
questions?
No, that is all till now.
Right. Any other questions, guys? Achina, unmute yourself, please.
I do have one question. Sorry for interruption. So, will we be doing any project at the end? Any
Yes,
means capstone project?
yes. We'll do the project. Not only capstone project. Like this, I'll give the source data. I'll ask you to do the project. A lot of projects will do. We'll ask you to do. Requirement document will provide it. We'll do it. What you need to do in that project, we'll ask.
Okay. And one more thing. Actually, nowadays, only one thing does not matter, means Power BI only or database only. So many a times they want the integration with Azure services. So can we
We'll
have a
discuss
small
Azure
demo
also,
on
sir.
that?
Go through the introduction class, sir. What are the things we will cover? We already covered, listed there. We'll
No,
discuss in our training Azure concepts also. What Azure concepts are required for Power BI? What Azure integrations are required? We'll cover in this training.
no, not Azure concepts. Azure concepts are many things like IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. These are different things. I just want to know about the Azure database services like Azure Data Factory and Azure Synapse Analytics, like those things, how they are integrated with Power BI. So, do we have any module regarding the same?
See, one thing I'll tell you, by end of the course, you'll get the confidence to integrate Power BI with any kind of software. See, Power BI is a software which can take the data from Azure Synapse, which can take the data from Azure Data Lake, which can take the data from Azure Data. So it's not Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory will load the data to some place, will take the data. Okay. So
Okay,
all that knowledge you will get it to connect to any kind of cloud related data sources, how to bring the data, how to integrate it, you will came to know.
sure. Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Hello.
Yes.
Like we are using GC Google Cloud Practice also for connecting.
Yeah, Power BI have the capability to bring the data from other cloud systems also. You when you go to the more and click on it, so you can find the connectors. So if the data is storing in, say, Snowflake is also one cloud database, you can have a connector here. Like this, lot of connectors will be there. Using that connectors, we can connect it. Google Sheets, we can connect it. Google BigQuery, we can connect it. Google BigQuery is a data which is storing in the Google Cloud. We can bring it.
Okay.
Hi.
Any question?
I have a
Yes.
question. You said that we need to download that, install the SQL server, right? To
Hmm.
once we receive
Hmm.
a mail. So
Hmm.
is that directly we can install in the laptop, or it's some software is required to buy or something?
Software is required, ma'am. That is that software. I'll tell you from where you need to download. From where you need to download it, how to install it. Everything will be available in that video. That is also a free software only. SQL Server
Okay, free
Developer
software.
Edition will be there. Developer Edition will be there. That's a free software
Hmm.
where you will download and install.
Okay. So in the laptop, is the storage will be okay for that to download this
No
both?
problem. No problem. It will not even occupy much space. Normal
Oh,
configuration system is sufficient.
okay. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. Thanks.
Right. Any questions, guys? Please unmute yourself. If you have any questions. Right. If there is no questions, I'll stop here. We'll continue from here in tomorrow's class, guys. It's already 1 hour 20 minutes. So thank you. See you in tomorrow's class. Archana, yes, ma'am. See, Archana, you, I don't see you are unable, you able to unmute. Do you have any questions?
No, no, just now I spoke to you about that SQL Server
Okay,
installation.
okay, right, fine,
Yeah.
right. Thank you. See you in the next class, guys.